All right, VB Nation, it's Wednesday, 6 p.m. You know what time it is. Time to, give you some knowledge, get you on the right side of the market, get you some ideas so that way you can make some money. Now, tonight's topic is actually one that, I don't really talk about too much on the channel, really at all, but it is vital in order to have a healthy portfolio. So the reason why I came up with this topic is I was on the VectorVest blog earlier this week, and I came across this article which spoke about dividends. There's a lot of great questions and great points, especially if you're new to putting a dividend portfolio together and you got some general questions on whether it's allocation or diversification purposes. But in addition to that, I'm going to jump into the VectorVest 7 software. We're going to talk about our dividend indicators, and we're going to find some fish along the way. I'm going to show you where in the VectorVest 7 software you can find some of the best dividend stocks out there. So if this is something that you're interested in, stick around and let's get started. Here's the VectorVest blog. You can see the website here, vectorvest.com/blog. Check it out when you get a chance. Now, the article is titled, "How Many Dividend Stocks Should I Own? Tips on Building a Dividend Portfolio." Now, I'm not going to read this article, but I will state, if you look at the question here, what is a dividend growth portfolio? Why diversification matters? How many dividend stocks should I own? 3 diversified dividend portfolio examples. You can see there's a lot of resources in the article, so I'm going to put the link down in the description or in the first comment. You'll see the link. Definitely check this out when you get a moment. Now, before we jump into the software, I just want to give you a fair warning and a heads up that later in this video, I did come across a Unisearch that brought up high yield Mag 7 ETFs. So make sure to stick around so that way you don't miss out on this list of ETFs. All right, now that I've shown you a great free resource being the VectorVest blog, if you want more informative financial information, now we're in the VectorVest 7 software. I'm going to show you how easy it is to utilize the VectorVest 7 software. We're going to find some fish along the way. By the end of this video, we're going to have 10, that's right, 10 dividend stocks by various routes. Now, in the article, it did say, as far as how many dividend stocks you want to own, starting with 10 is a good number, up to 20, maybe 30 at most, but definitely 10 at least for diversification purposes. But anything above, 20 or 30 stocks, that's just a lot to manage. So let's go ahead and go through the program and show you exactly where we can find some of the best dividend candidates out there. First up, while we're on the viewers tab, we're going to go to the watch list viewer. We actually have a portfolio here called Dividend Payers. The first 3 you see here are DRIP, that's Dividend Reinvestment Program. So that's where they take the dividend and reinvest it into the stock itself. So when we ran the DRIP search here, you can see Broadcom, JP Morgan, Apple, some big names at the top of the list here. So let's go ahead and right click on one of these stocks. We're going to go to View Full Stock Analysis Report. Now, if you've never seen one of these or ever been here, this actually gives all the descriptions and definitions of all of our indicators. So if you want to, better utilize the VectorVest 7 software and know more about these indicators to make money with them, definitely check this out, as this will be a great resource. But you can see here, we've got the dividend paid, the dividend yield, the dividend safety or DS. Now, the DS is an indicator of the assurance that a regular cash dividend will be declared and paid at current or at higher rates in the foreseeable future. So it just looks at the consistency of that dividend and the ability to pay the current amount, if not more. Now, another important factor here is going to be the DG, or the dividend growth rate. Pretty self-explanatory. Dividend growth rate is forecasted annual growth rate of a company's dividend based on historical dividend payments and dividend predictability. Now, on top of that, we got the YSG here. Now, this is pretty much the VST, the value, safety, and timing that you see, but for dividend analysis. So if you want great dividend stocks, you just want a YSG and a favorable rating. Now, as I take a look at these stocks and I scroll over to the right, we do see the dividend safety, dividend growth rate, and the YSG, all very favorable ratings here. I mean, we've got Broadcom, JP Morgan. So let's scroll over to the right. Pretty diverse list. We've got semiconductor manufacturing, bank investments, computer makers. So let's take a look at a couple of these charts. Starting with Broadcom, beautiful chart here, nice lower left, upper right, buy ratings across the board here, all the moving averages in our favor, so this position looks really good. JP Morgan also, phenomenal chart here, lower left to upper right, moving averages in our favor, still showing momentum to the upside. So as you can see here, all these stocks, we got Apple here on a run lately, 230 right now, continuing to climb. APH, also nice smooth chart here, up again today at 69.58. So you can see we found some great stocks right out of the gate utilizing the VectorVest 7 software. So I'm going to use Broadcom, JP Morgan, and APH, add them to a watch list. Now that we've got these stocks on a watch list, let's go back to this dividend folder here. We do have master limited partnerships, MLP close-ended funds. But let's take a look at these MLP ETFs, which is master limited partnerships. We see 5 ETFs come in the list here. All of them have RTs above 1, so they're trending up right now. 2 out of the 5 have buy ratings. And let's take a look at the dividend yield here. Between 4 and 7%. The dividend safety, 58. It's not the greatest rating, but it's still good. As far as dividend growth here, the only one being positive is going to be this MLPX. So let's take a look at the chart. Beautiful chart, lower left to upper right. Moving averages still in our favor right now. So let's go ahead and add this to our watch list as well. Now that I was able to show you some of the dividend watch list here, and we found some great stocks along the way there, let's go ahead and go to Unisearch. And here we're going to go to the retirement folder. That's where you're going to find a lot of the dividend strategies here. The first one I want to take a look at is blue chip dividend payers. If we look at the comments here, this search finds blue chip companies that pay a safe and growing dividend rate of at least 3%. So let's go ahead and run the search. Quite a few stocks coming in the list here. We got AES Corp, MetLife, Comcast, all at the top of the list here. Now, as far as safety ratings, you can see here the stock safety ratings pretty low. There are a couple here above 1. So let's take a look at their dividends first. We see the yields here just below 4%. Dividend safety in the 50s, still a good rating. Positive growth rate here. So let's take a look at the industries. The industries, we got utility services and business miscellaneous. So let's go ahead and graph these two. We see the stock on a retracement here, but look at the moving averages, potentially getting ready for a bullish crossover here. If we take a look at the second one, PAYX, this dividend stock slightly above where it was a year ago. However, not a lot of volatility. So if you're looking for more a defensive play and just collecting some income, this may actually be a stock you might want to consider. So let's add both of these to the watch list. The other search I wanted to show you was going to be high VST plus YSG stocks. You're getting the best of both worlds here, value, safety, and timing when it comes to the stock, and yield, safety, and growth when it comes to the dividend. And look at this, we've got NVIDIA at the top of the list here, followed by Applied Materials, Meta Platforms, Google in the list, Taiwan Semiconductors. So a lot of great companies here, even got EME, MCore Group. I'm a big fan of that company. We scroll over to the right, we see the dividend analysis here. Dividend safety, all very high ratings, dividend growth as well. If we notice, the yield is rather low in a lot of these companies here. Aflac being the highest here, and with the dividend safety of 93, dividend growth rate at 14%, buy rating on the stock here. I'm definitely going to add this to the list. I do like Taiwan Semiconductors coming in at 0.91%, along with Applied Materials here, one of the highest yields in the list here. Dividend safety at 99%, dividend growth rate 14%, buy rating here. So let's just graph these companies. All right, the stock is moving nice lower left to upper right. Same with Taiwan Semiconductors and Aflac. Again, we did have a gap down here. I have a feeling that's probably with earnings, but otherwise lower left to upper right. Price action still above that 20-day exponential moving average, just confirming that upside momentum. Now, the last search I wanted to show you here is going to be the high yield 2x10. So this is going to find dividend paying stocks with high dividend yields and brings to the top of the list those with the best combination of capital and dividend performance. So you can see here the stock dividend itself has to be greater than $2, while the yield has to be more than 10%. So if I run the search here, look what's coming in the top of the list here. All the ETFs for the Mag 7 you can see here. We've even got Yield Max for AMD, AMDY here. So let's take a look at some of these dividend yields. We got 14% on AAPB, 60% on TSL, 50% on NVDY. So this actually looks like a great way to maximize some of your dividend yields on some of the big players here, being the Magnificent 7. So for this one, we're actually going to do the Yield Max Mag 7 here to cover all 7 of these. We have the buy rating at diversification. The dividends at 296, the yields at 13.6%, 23% dividend growth rate. So if you wanted some fish, this is the list here. Take your screenshot. These are great dividend candidates to have on your radar. All right, VV Nation, we went through the software. Thank you for sticking till the end here. These are the 10 stocks. You saw how I came across and found these stocks here. Now, I will say at the top of the list, we are a little semiconductor heavy, but you can see, diversification across the board here from utility to ETFs, insurance, bank. Now, in the article, you really, if you're having 10 stocks, you don't want more than 2 stocks in a certain industry. But you can see here we've got 3 for semiconductor, but we are diversified as 2 of them are in the manufacturing and 1 one is in the equipment. Now, I hope you found this video informative, and I hope you found some of these stocks along the way. Just alone from that last search, looking at some of those dividend yields from the Mag 7 ETFs. Definitely, if I were you, pay attention a little bit more of those. But you can see the stocks here. This is a great, phenomenal list in case the market decides to pull back or is a little choppy going forward. At least you can collect some dividend along the way. Now, if you found the video informative, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow night.